Howdy everyone, y'all the voltage, and I'm actually getting some more Johnstone right now. I speedran catching 100 shiny Pokemon, and this one I'm particularly interested in because this is in Scarlet and Violet, and I wonder what shinies he's gonna get for 100 shinies, honestly.
What's going on, guys? My name is John, and welcome back to yet another video. Over the past few years with the releases of more open-world Pokemon games, one topic of conversation has become a lot more prominent. Are shiny Pokemon too easy to find? Well, the ability to encounter a large amount of Pokemon has drastically increased. I decided to put this theory to the test in the Indigo Disc DLC by seeing just how quickly you can catch 100 shiny Pokemon
Ooh,
in Pokemon
Chikorita.
Scarlet and Violet, and this is how it went. Because
It's a
being a
good
little bit
shiny.
honest, just to go and catch 100 shiny Pokemon, I get with 10 different tasks that I have to complete, which gives the opportunity
Coastal
to explore the
Canyon
entire
Flying
terrarium,
Outbreak.
as well as potentially finding the best method to get as many shinies as I can. Our
Okay.
first stop is going to be right at the entrance for the Savannah biome. Now, as you probably know, the terrarium is separated into 4 different quadrants, each with a different ecosystem to explore, and conveniently, the first 10 shinies that we need to find are right at the entrance.
Yep.
Although I do want to try and complete this as fast as possible,
Well,
I started being
Charmanders.
told that when I'm taking on biome-specific challenges, the shinies that I find have to be split 50-50 between outbreaks and flying around. It's important to note that regardless, I'll be making shiny sandwiches to ensure that I have the highest chances, no matter what I'm doing. With the release of this DLC, there was an event outbreak for
Milcery?
so I decided that I should take on that first before it changes. For these special outbreaks, they have an increased 1 in 200 chance of being shiny, and it was pretty apparent that maybe this challenge would be a lot easier than I expected. That has to be shiny.
That's a shiny one already.
You're kidding.
You didn't save the game.
It's been a minute and a half. It's gonna be a quick video then.
No.
Crazy.
You're going for 100
Granted, this
shinies.
is the only outbreak that will have this low of odds, so let's just compare this to a regular one. As you probably know, after knocking out 60 Pokemon in an outbreak, the odds increase to about 1 in 500, and because the outbreak won't disappear unless you defeat everything, you can just fly around and constantly respawn Pokemon until you get what you're looking for.
Oh, you can picnic reset.
This idea shot with Execute in the northern section of the area.
That's a good
Although the odds
shiny.
are better than just flying around, you do have to spend 8 to 10 minutes defeating all of them, which obviously isn't a lot of time, but across 100 Pokemon, it could take upwards of 17 hours if I chose to do it for all of them. After only 10 minutes, I managed to find my second shiny, and even
Execute.
early on, I was adamant that doing outbreaks was going to be the fastest way that I could get a shiny. To balance it all out, I decided to do some flying encounters, and I had one big target in mind. With the introduction of this DLC, a bunch of Pokemon that were formerly stuck in the game since the 3DS era became catchable once again, and I wanted to get my hands on a Blitzel. Despite this game being transferable up to Ultra Sun and Moon, Blitzel has actually not been catchable since X and Y over a decade ago, and that one was exclusive.
You get a free shiny Blitzel from Serrano. Why would you go for Blitzel? You literally get a free one from Serrano.
When it comes to doing the flying portions, I threw together an electric encounter shiny sandwich, which increases my chances to about 1 in 700, which sounds drastically worse than the outbreaks, but it's important to consider that 1, you can encounter a lot more Pokemon at once, and 2, if Pokemon you're hunting is the only Pokemon to have this type in the area, you'll almost exclusively see that Pokemon somewhat like a giant outbreak.
Like Blitzel into Psycho.
Multiple sandwiches and nothing appearing, but eventually, I did find a shiny.
Ooh, that's a Psycho shiny. Hello.
I did want Blitzel, but I mean, I will take what I can get.
You can't complain about the Psycho. It's an okay shiny, honestly. It's not the worst shiny.
Challenge like this, I had the game plan of finding all of these forgotten Pokemon, and I decided that from here on out, I would try to obtain as many of them as possible. After doing a bit of research, I made my way to the southwestern section of the savannah to try and hunt down Litleo. This was again a Pokemon that was last seen in the Pokepelago of all things in Ultra Sun and Moon, and with a fire sandwich, I was able to isolate it, with the exception of the Magmar line, which I was still fine with getting. Unlike the others I had
Magby's a good shiny. It's a nice orange.
This is not kind. Disregarding that it took 2 hours just to find something, the performance in this area is not great. After a few attempts, I was confident that I missed one just off of how many I'd seen up until that point, but eventually I was able to get the shiny Litleo.
Yeah!
The last 2 shinies took nearly 12 times as long as the mass outbreak ones that I caught. I decided to do another outbreak, and I came across a pretty interesting one. After farming enough blueberry points from completing tasks in the terrarium, you can unlock a feature that allows you to catch all of the starter Pokemon from past generations.
Charmander?
Which means that you can also find them in the outbreaks. Just as I expected, getting another shiny with this method wasn't going to be too hard. Oh, there it is.
Charmander!
Nice.
No!
No! No!
Don't kill it! No!
That was really stupid. And I didn't save. On the upside, it only took me another 30 minutes to find another, but from this
Yay!
point on, I made sure to save for every shiny so I don't have to deal with this
Thank
again. Back
you.
where I found Zebstrika, I rode around for 30 minutes and eventually found a shiny Sandile, to which I then realized that there was one more
That's a
Pokemon in
good
this area that
shiny.
I really wanted to be part of my collection. Ever since these games came out, I've always wanted to hunt Girafarig. I mean, even since the badge quest I did a year ago, but I ended up finding a Tauros instead.
I end up
So
finding a Tauros instead.
them and find them with a Poke Radar, I just wanted to encounter Farigiraf in some way, so I threw down a Psychic Sandwich and started flying around. In hindsight, I probably should have made a normal one, and it was pretty obvious that this might not go on my favorite.
Arrives go. Executor.
Okay. Now, I
It's
know this
not
may
that
seem like it's not
bad,
a thing,
honestly.
I already have Execute. I can evolve that Execute into a Lone Executor, which I also don't have, so that would be...
Executor's honestly not bad.
No.
15 minutes later.
Now it's a problem. Since by this point I basically only walked around like 2 different areas of the savannah, I made my way close to the center of the terrarium to hunt down the Flygon line. A pretty neat aspect of this DLC is that it seems like you can encounter outbreaks from evolved Pokemon significantly more than the base game, but with a ground-type sandwich you can encounter the entire line at the area border, so really anything was cool to see. After 30 minutes passed, I was able to find a shiny Trapinch, which means I only have one more Pokemon left to obtain in this area. Back in the northern area, I managed to come across a Rellor outbreak, and while this is the only Gen 9 line of Pokemon in the terrarium aside from Farigiraf, I still have never obtained one, and the thought of encountering a giant rolling big nugget in the wild just seemed like a cool thing to end up with. Ignoring the fact that this took significantly longer than any other hunt I had done up until this point, I had some issues during this one. Yeah, what's up? Okay, I'll be there in a sec.
No!
Wait, hold on. Oh, no.
No. Don't despawn.
Despite failing my second shiny in just the first section, I was still determined to get this done, and thankfully, after an hour and a half, I was able to get my reclaim. With the first 10 out of the way, it was time to take on something a little more interesting. As I mentioned before, all the starters are available to be caught, and I'm able to freely roam the terrarium and hunt down whatever
Me personally,
I want. Now, although I do have
I've gotten a contrary superior, which it's kind of broken. I really do like hunting the starters again. I've had fun hunting them again.
I really wanted to aim for a few that I've always wanted to have, and I decided to start with the groupie outbreak in the coastal biome. I ended up finding a shiny really quickly, but it was definitely not what I expected. Oh, I mean, that's not what I was looking for, but that's
Hello, Blossom.
Later, I didn't even think of this as a scenario.
This is a good shiny, honestly.
Great shiny too. Shut up. Because this obviously isn't a starter, whatever Pokemon I find that doesn't match the requirements for what I'm looking for, I'll just save them for the next section where it would best fit in. A few minutes later, I ended up finding a shiny monkey, and from here I went to the Chargestone Cave to check out a chest.
You're a kook. You're
one
gonna
thing I
end
like
it.
to note about making sandwiches in this game is that it's based around the environment that you're in, as the minigame is actually done in the overworld. This means that it's taking a reflection of all the blue crystals, and it looks like you're cooking during a solar flare.
It does look like you're cooking during a solar flare.
But thankfully, I was able to get out of here pretty quickly.
You're not shiny. Woo! Shiny Chespin!
Just made the sandwich. You know, I'm starting to think that shiny hunting's really hard in this game. After this, I went back to the coastal biome to take on a Chikorita outbreak, which apparently is kind of rare from what I was told, but it only took me about half an hour to find my third starter. I was kind of tired of going after all these grass starters, so I moved over to the small bog area in the savannah where you can exclusively find Sobble. This was shockingly a little hard to spawn out of a group of them, but I was able to find one, and then I moved over to the coastal cave to hunt down easily the best shiny starter.
Mudkip.
Thankfully, with a water sandwich, you can exclusively find them here, as well as opportunities for some really unique hunts, like Acrobatic Rebel Cliff Mudkip, and Stuck Behind the Lantern Jail for his multiple felonies Mudkip.
Stuck behind the lantern for...
one more water Pokemon. I decided to hunt down Poplio through an outbreak, which is my first encounter with hunting down something in the water. Granted, this outbreak was pretty weirdly placed, so half of the encounters were on the beach, but for a shiny like this, and the way lighting works in Scarlet and Violet, this was not going to be easy. I typically look at a lot of the shinies before I hunt them as a mental reminder, and I honestly figured that a darker blue and pink ribbon around its neck would make it stand out like crazy, but seeing as this took me over an hour to find, it's fair to say that I probably missed one. Oh, that's it.
Yes!
Wow, I almost passed it. Oh, it looks so good. To finish off the trios, I started working
Celine loved that Pokemon.
I did a little research and found out that Litten has an isolated hunt by where the Cleaver spawns, so I spent some time hunting that down.
There's a Cleaver spawn?
And technically my first Canyon biome shiny, if we're not counting the Chespin from Chargestone Cave. I then went to the Polar biome for the first time to check out a Scorbunny outbreak, which took a little over 10 minutes to appear. Oh, that's it for sure.
Oh, that's super noticeable to see.
It's stumps in the snow. Oh my god! Finally, I went
No!
to the canyons to get a shiny Tepig.
Tepig!
It left me with only one more starter. Because at this point I'd already obtained the other two Gen 7 starters, and I definitely didn't have plans of soft resetting these in Ultra Moon, I went to the savannah to hunt for Rowlet. I managed to get an outbreak, and once again in 10 minutes, I found the last one. Oh, there. Wow. Mint Owl. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I got 10 shiny starters in 4 hours. Now, although that's impressive, I had a feeling that I could do a little bit better. The next day, I decided to stream hunting down all these shinies, and needless to say, the shinies I found were pretty unique.
Ooh, Caesar!
We found the green little... Where is he? What? No! Where are you going?
Stop running, you doofus.
I can't catch you! Come back! If I could rename any one Pokemon, what would I rename? I'd rename Quilladin to Dead, and I'd bury him.
Ooh, hello, Rotom.
Well, how did that happen? How do I convince Golett to show up and be shiny? Maybe if we all smile. Hey, any day now. Wait. Oh. Wait, that worked.
Hi.
Oh. Okay, that worked. At this point, my chat noticed that I had an outbreak for Minior and convinced me to give it a shot. Now, if you don't know, Minior definitely has a shiny, and honestly, it's really cool. The issue is that it's encased in a shell, which means that any one of these Minior could be shiny on the inside, and the only way to tell is to battle each and every one of them. Thankfully, you can auto-battle them, and I've had plenty of experience with this before with finding Zorua, but I knew that it would take an insanely long time to find. Are Pokemon that are supposed to be imposters? You're playing with me! You're playing with me, Gallade! You're playing with me!
Shiny Minior.
So fast! We're good, guys.
Not
We're good.
bad.
I decided to use the remaining time on my flying sandwich to go to the nature reserve to see if I could find a Skarmory, and needless to say, I definitely found a shiny. I feel like this would be a better nighttime, but oh my god!
Shiny Altaria.
Oh, come on down, baby! No, it's okay! It's okay, you can come down! Are you stuck? Oh, he's stuck. Are you his friend? How did he get up there? Go on, you guys can't all start talking at once. I'm trying to listen to one story at a time. You know what? Fine, I'll do it. I'll get it myself. Lazy. Belton's in the caves in the polar. Speaking of caves that are polar, one of the very few attractions in New Hampshire is a place called the Polar Caves, naturally made caverns that you can walk through. Where they have two final ones. They have one that's it's called the lemon. I was trying to tell a story.
Hello, Shiny Geodude.
Story without finding a shiny. New test. The final ones, though, they have two. The Orange Crush, and the other one's called the Lemon Squeeze. I went in there. They had to shut down the end of it in the nicest way. There was a very large woman who decided that she was bold enough to go through the Lemon Squeeze, and she got stuck, and they had to call the fire department. And so they had to, like, push everybody out. What?
Ooh, so blue!
To tell this story, where are all these shinies coming from? I can't finish this story. This is the most
I like this shiny.
crazy collection of
I actually caught a marked one a while back. Of a cloudy marked saw blue.
monsters. Thankfully, they're all different. And also, I'd like to note, I found all the flying types except for the one I came for. When I finished
I found all the flying types except the one I came for.
area, and I started out by grabbing a Magneton in the Chargestone Cave,
Wow.
and then decided to go for yet another starter.
Squirtle!
At the canyon with a water sandwich, you're able to find outbreaks of Squirtle, and initially, because it looks like it's set in the marsh area, it seems like an easy hunt. Unfortunately, even with a water sandwich, they mostly spawn in the water, and just like the Popplio hunt, finding shiny encounters in the water is not an easy task. Oh my god, I knew it.
Hey, Deerling.
I sensed it. I was like, I knew that this was shiny, dude.
Huh.
What in the world? I cannot believe I spotted that. After getting this, I decided to give up on Squirtle because of how few spawns I was actually getting, and decided to head back to the nature reserve to try and find something in the Cinchino outbreak. When it comes to some outbreaks, they're really oddly placed, as this one is placed basically on the river, and although it would be kind of morbid for them to infinitely spawn on the river, it does cut off the amount of spawns. I decided to use a normal type sandwich and hunt down the final member of this section. No.
Hello, Swablu.
I had a feeling it wasn't gonna be Cinchino, so, you know what? It's all good.
At least it's a good shiny.
Nonetheless. With 30 shinies under my belt, I spun the wheel again to land on arguably the most unique challenge so far. In the League Clubhouse, you can use blueberry points to redeem the item printer, which gives you what feels like an unlimited list of items, ranging from things like Terra Shards to competitive items. However, for every time that you use it, there's a small chance you can activate a bonus, which will either double the amount of items that you receive, or enable a separate list of items that are exclusively all the variations of Pokeballs. Although you can get normal items like luxury balls, the ultra rare rewards consist of things like the apricorn balls, special balls like the beast ball, and even Master Balls. For this section, I can catch whatever I like, however, all the catches need to be in these unique Pokeballs, and I'll do my best to color match whatever I find. Coincidentally, at this point, the Milcery outbreaks went out of rotation in
Delibird.
exchange for a short weekend of Delibird outbreaks with the same boosted odds. To no surprise, this was extremely easy to spot, and I used a love ball to start my collection. The next
When the Delibird outbreak happened, I caught 7 in the Savannah biome in about 15 minutes. They were very, very, very common.
I obtained, however, is something that I've been waiting for. Now, although I had already taken on the starter section, there were a couple that evaded me, most notably the Johto starters. If you remember earlier, I mentioned
Snivy?
it was pretty difficult to encounter, and I'd finally obtained a Totodile outbreak. Because normally things
Snivy
like
exists?
and Bruxish could spawn here in the savannah, Totodile isn't prioritized at all, but now I have an entire pond dedicated, so I got to the grind. Oh, there it is.
Hey, buddy!
A mile away. This is by far my most favorite shiny in this DLC for sure. Also, wow, I didn't even notice I got a female one too. What are the odds of that? Yes, sir. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad about that. At this point in the challenge, it was creeping up on Christmas time, so I decided to stop and just sit back, relax, and enjoy the finer things with my family. Like building an entire backpack set so I could record my shiny hunts on the plane. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I looked completely insane putting everything together on the plane. Definitely not suspicious at all. And you're probably thinking, this is a bit overkill when you could just use the screenshot record button that was built onto the console. But one, I miss out on all of this HD quality, and I want the full proof that I'm the first and only person in the entire world to ever catch a shiny Crabominable in a sports ball 30,000 feet in the air. I also catch a shiny Lapras, but my laptop stopped recording because of my storage, so I took a little creative liberty with this one. Oh, but wow, guys, I found it! Alright, let me just use my heavy ball I have in my bag. Nice, we got it. And let's go. After spending some time at home, I came back to this section, and the special outbreak had changed once again
To the dragon types.
Didn't have increased odds, but fortunately one showed up pretty fast, and I was able to catch it in the Moonball.
This is one of the outbreaks I actually didn't do.
Check out more of the coastal area.
I actually headed for the Dratinis instead, and I got about 4 Dratinis. I also got one of the Scarlet as my first ever shiny in Scarlet that I got with, like, I'm actually doing a quest in Scarlet where we're trying to get the charm by doing only the dex via trades. I'm doing only trades right now, and I'm trying to get the dex completed.
This is by far the hardest ball to catch Pokemon in, as its effectiveness is a tenth of a regular Pokeball when used on any Pokemon that's not an Ultra Beast. So I was gonna really need to make it count. I ended up finding a Porygon outbreak, and with the location it was placed in, they spawned more than any other one that I'd taken on before. And before you know it, the final one appeared. Oh wow.
Oh, that's a good
shiny. Is an entirely different scenario.
This is gonna be hell.
But I'm gonna figure it out.
Better hope you have like 30 beast balls.
Wow. Oh. That's crazy.
Critical capture.
Okay. Well, that's the end of that. With the first section completed, I was tasked on being locked to the coastal biome. Unlike what I'd done so far, I actually only needed to catch 9 shinies, as I decided to throw in that Bellossom that I caught earlier. So I made my way to the top of the waterfall and used a fire sandwich. Although I was looking for Numel, I ended up finding a shiny Torkoal.
Okay,
and
Torkoal.
with the remaining time, I encountered a Pikipek in only 10 minutes. While it does sound quick, this was an eternity compared to what I found in the next hour. Oh.
Toucannon! Oh my god, that's a great shiny!
That's really sick. Now, although I did just get Pikipek, let me just look at it.
I love this shiny. It's actually in the top of my list of my shinies I've made in the past.
There was literally, how long has my sandwich been active?
Ooh, hello there, Deepiter.
Hey, I mean, like, why not just ride it out the rest
That's
of
a good shiny.
no other bug Pokemon that spawn in the coastlands.
Araquanid is also a great
I might
shiny.
As well just use it and see if I can get Araquanid instead. Are you kidding me?
Ooh, hello.
This makes no sense. Oh, there it is.
Hello there. That's a good shiny, honestly.
Oh.
Hey there, Seviper.
Don't even need to do my combo. That's crazy. Oh, there it is.
Vigoroth.
I thought that was going to be hard to see, but that is very blatantly.
Yeah, that's very obvious.
Get enough to be left with only one more Pokemon for this section, and to be honest, I basically caught everything that I wanted already, except for one Pokemon, Zangoose. This is a shiny that I've wanted ever since I saw it in Pokemon Ruby, and I figured there'd be no better time than now to get it. This one basically took as long as the past 6 combined did, but that didn't really mean much when this was by far the fastest section I had done so far.
Oh, there we go, and that's all the coolest looking shinies you've gotten so far.
Sick.
I have a hacked one actually with the item fighter mark that I got a Wonder Trade.
Section I've done so far. Also, I'm halfway done, so that's pretty cool. With 50 shinies collected, I reached the halfway point in a little over 27 hours, and to be honest, I don't think that's too bad. The next wheel spin landed on RNG. This quite literally is just me using a random number generator and just hunting whatever I could find, so long as I didn't already have the line, which even with 50 Pokemon is a lot harder than you'd think. Originally, this was going to be Pokemon that finally returned, but by this point I'd already caught so many of them that half of them would have been duplicates. But later on, I learned that making this change was one of the best decisions I could have made. What is number 6? That has to be a joke, right? I found out that doing a rock-type sandwich in the area where I found Litleo would only spawn that line, and although that basically guarantees the shiny, the lighting in this game never fails to disappoint.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it? Oh, it is.
Wow.
You know what? Now, looking back, I'm definitely blown for that. I thought it was all the same color. Oh, no.
That's not a bad shiny, honestly.
The last section gave me a lot of hope that I could get through this challenge a lot faster than how long it's currently taken. And it's important to note, for the most part, I've already tackled all the methods that I could do, which makes it really hard to explain the rest of this section. I ended up rolling a 155 for Sandshrew, which thankfully is one of the only version exclusives in Violet for this DLC, and in 7 minutes I managed to find one. This is where things got a little insane. There's no way. How? Who's number 1 in the deck? Is it Doduo? Oh, wow.
Hey, buddy!
That's crazy that I found. There's so many other shinies that I could have found. Once again, insane how fast these encounters are. Okay, 6 minutes. I mean, that's really quick, but good luck happens, right? Okay. Oh!
You get an outbreak.
That is pretty convenient. Oh.
Hey, slack off!
I mean, that's fine. It's not really why I came here. But okay.
You derpy buddy.
Let's try and get it in now. Wait, is that it?
How many seconds later?
I mean, that's fine. It's not really why I came here. But okay. Okay. Let's try and get it in now.
How many? 30 seconds later?
Is that it? There's
Jeez.
no way, dude. Are you kidding?
That is it. That's shiny Inkay.
What in the world is happening? I don't even know what to say. In the past 10 minutes, I've found 4 shinies. Okay, is that it? It's gotta be it, right? I mean, that was correct for the area. Oh, nice.
Numel.
Noticeable. Cool. We're going for a record for this section, I swear. Ooh, Bulbasaur. Okay.
Ooh! Hey, Bulbasaur, my little buddy.
I do not know what's going on, but this is just so busted. I have nothing to say. So far, I was 7 Pokemon in after about an hour and 20 minutes, but the next Pokemon I rolled, I knew was gonna break the streak. 128. There goes the fun. For a lot of reasons, Sinistea is not a fun Pokemon to hunt down, but let's start with the obvious, the size. Despite its shiny being noticeably different,
very
small.
small.
When they are this big. This is one of the largest contenders for debating the why is there no shiny sound or at least sparkles in these games, and trying to find a purple teacup when the T part of it is already purple is nearly impossible from a distance, especially when I have a really bad eye disease called Moon 27. Nah, I'm just kidding. I have nystagmus, my contact prescription is -7 in both eyes. This really blows. There is, however, one upside. A rare little guy. To the untrained eye, these may seem like the same teacup, however this one has extra pixels. Although this outbreak is almost entirely phony Sinistea, when I find the shiny, there's a 1 in 100 chance of it being the authentic one. While this would be cool, I knew that just seeing one would be more impressive in my head, and considering how much trouble I was already having just knocking them out, this was going to... Wait, are you... Dude...
Hi.
What is happening? I was so ready for them, like, oh man, this is gonna be a tough one.
No.
Wasn't very authentic of you. In total, this took 10 minutes to find, and it did end up not being authentic, but maybe I'll hunt the real one in the future. For the next shiny, I was once again sent to the coastal biome to get Froakie. With a sandwich, the land encounters will exclusively become riddled with frogs. So I thought.
Hey there, Dylan.
It shocks me how easy they are to find, because they really don't look like they would be... I mean, maybe they are just an easy shine to find. 2 of the 4 patterns, which is pretty sick. Wait. Yep.
Oh, shiny Froakie! Yay, bullfrog!
That's crazy.
Yeah.
In the span of 1 hour and 7 minutes, I had managed to find 10 shinies. How is that even statistically possible? For the 7th section of this challenge, I landed on
Flying.
the flying category. This quite literally means that I just had to fly around until I find one, which removes any use of the mass outbreaks. Now, while this does sound like a downside, nearly every shiny in the past section was found outside of outbreaks, and I was excited to see if mass outbreaks really are inferior to just roaming around. I decided to continue the water sandwich from Froakie as I had like 26 minutes left.
My
and
3
within
random
3
shiny
minutes, I
seconds
was
just
able
called
to
on by
spot
the
a shiny
random
Horsey in the
ones.
water. I genuinely don't
How'd
know
you
how I
see
spotted
that?
it because the water encounters are insanely hard to see, but I was able to quickly catch this, as well as Chinchu a few minutes later.
Wow.
Here I did a little research and realized that there were a few isolated hunts that I could go for, so I made my way back to the northernmost area of the canyon, and with a normal type sandwich,
For
I was
this
able to track
doofus.
down a shiny Smeargle. At this point, I kind of realized that only like a tenth of the total shinies I caught were from the polar biome, so I threw together a fairy sandwich to try and grab a Snubble, and it was very apparent that the game had been waiting for me to get there.
Hello there.
I don't understand. That is a record. That was a whopping 4 seconds. That was like 4 seconds. Considering I'd used quite literally 1 minute of my boost, I figured that attempting something else with the same typing would be a smart idea. Unfortunately, there's an insanely short list of fairies in this DLC, but as you'd expect, I was still able to get one. Oh, there it is. Wow.
Connie! That's a good shiny. I like
Alright,
that,
halfway
honestly.
done. It dawned on me that I barely explored any areas of the Johnstone cave aside from getting Minior, so I threw together an electric encounter shiny sandwich and roamed around until I found something. Somehow, once again, I drove directly into another Rotom, but at least I can turn it into a fridge or something? I made my way back to the savannah to catch a couple more that I had on my mind, starting with Venomoth,
Venomoth.
which still to this day is my favorite Gen 1 shiny out of them all, but there was more important business. I had a giraffe to catch. I figured that using a psychic type sandwich would yield me pretty good results, and if I stay near the pond where I found Totodile, I can limit my encounters to only Girafarig, and debatably one of the Pokemon of all time. Oh, wow. You know, a lot of people say that this Pokemon's ugly, and I will confidently stand with them. With a little time left,
But shiny's good.
Anything blue. Things like Girafarig, Farigiraf, Girafarig. I got an Exeggutor again.
I got an
and
Exeggutor again.
I the cavern in the coastal biome to find one more Pokemon I really want. Now, if you've seen older videos of mine, you're probably saying, John, you have like 12 of these. Why would you want another that you're just gonna stuff in Pokemon Home? Listen, there are some shinies that I just really like to get. I am also running out of evolution lines to hunt for, so I needed something. So Pink Duck it is. With all that completed, it was time to take on the final method that I had planned. When you look at the outbreaks at face value, they're meant to be cleared out. It's just that it's significantly more convenient to shiny hunt by just respawning them. But is the intended method just as good? So for every outbreak that I do, I have to clear out the entirety of them, which is a little over 100 Pokemon, which means that I could potentially be knocking out thousands of encounters in this section. Because auto-battling won't knock out any shiny encounters, I decided to track down one of the hardest shinies to see in the entire game. I ended up having a Joltik outbreak, and disregarding the lighting issues in Johnstone Cave, this Pokemon is small. I honestly think the only Pokemon worse to hunt than this is Tynamo, but regardless, I've started clearing it out.
That's shiny.
Oh, I could tell, actually. That's crazy.
Yeah, you can tell that was like a shiny.
So fast, too. Although I did find this really quickly, I still had to clear out the entirety of it, and unfortunately, this was the luckiest I was going to get. I worked on clearing out any new outbreaks that I saw. Seadra, Scrafty, Sawsbuck, nothing. It took me 9 completed outbreaks and 2 hours before I was able to get a shiny Electabuzz.
Electabuzz is not bad,
I'm
honestly.
honestly not going about this in the best way possible. See, the way that I figured that I should do it was just to move from Pokemon to Pokemon, knocking out whatever I saw. But when you consider that my best odds really only occur after I knock out 60 of the 100 encounters, it really doesn't leave a lot of potential. This
Don't skip ads. It gives the YouTuber
really
the profit they deserve.
This is when I came up with the corralling method. By leaving my Pokemon to auto-battle, I ride around within the range of my Gallade, so I'm able to respawn Pokemon all while I'm still clearing out the area. Does this increase my chances? Absolutely. But it still took another hour to find my next shiny.
Turwig!
There it is. It's like right at the end of the outbreak, too. Unfortunately, this method doesn't work everywhere because the area for the spawns sometimes isn't as large or easy to move around. So while in concept it does sound good, most shinies took between 1 to 2 hours to find. Oshawott took nearly as long as Electabuzz, and I had a nice break with Finneon and my second Rellor through only a few outbreaks, but the one that followed was the worst of them all. Over the span of 3 hours, I completed 15 outbreaks without a single shiny Pokemon. Granted, I could have totally missed one, especially when you're dealing with things like Muck. But as always, one has to show up eventually. Oh, finally, dude. Wow, that's crazy.
No!
With a quick Scyther encounter and even a shiny Trico in the nature preserve, there was only
Ooh!
one more to find. Originally, I was a little picky with what outbreaks I cleared, but by this point I was taking on whatever to get it over with. But even the sandwiches didn't want me to continue. Dude, oh my god. With a little glue and a lot of patience, I was able to eventually get through this area. Oh, that's gotta be the shiny, right?
Yep.
That is
Pink
3 of
flowers.
the 4 Deerling line, which is absolutely insane. And additionally, the 10th Pokemon out of this very, very long section. We're 11 hours behind us and 80 shinies caught.
The
We decided to
polar
take on the polar biome. Over the course of the challenge this far, I'd only caught 9 Pokemon in the polar biome, and considering by this point I had basically caught nearly one of each line of Pokemon everywhere else, this location was going to be loaded with encounters, arguably some of the best in the game. I started by doing a Minccino outbreak, where it appeared after only 7 minutes. I decided to roam around the lower parts of the mountain with a Psychic-type sandwich to exclusively hunt the Beldum line. Because this area is pretty bland color-wise, I was really banking on the gold accents to stand out, but the silver body was actually super noticeable. However, the next one, not so much. Because it's still over 20 minutes remaining on my boosts, I decided to hunt the only other Psychic line in this area. Now, if you play Pokemon back in like Gen 5, you know that Solosis has a pretty vibrant shiny, changing from this green to a more teal-looking bubble. Just like a lot of Pokemon, the transition to 3D changed a lot of the colors, and even looking at these models, you can see the differences. But when you consider the size and the area that it's in, I can guarantee that you, yourself, has probably failed one. Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's a shiny.
There's no way this is it, right? It is. Like, look at the... Look at the reference. That's a normal one, and this is a shiny one? To give me a little break from the eye strain, I ventured into Chargestone Cave to catch a shiny Minun, and decided that I wanted to take on the last outbreaks that I was forced to do. I made my way into the water to
Please
finally
don't do
tackle a
Puzzle.
Pokemon that I've wanted for a long time.
Puzzle
the Suki
sucks.
Quillfish. This is one of the very few shinies in Legend Arceus, to my knowledge, that I haven't caught. To be fair, I have like 300 shinies in that game, so maybe it's somewhere deep in those boxes, but considering that it's significantly easier to evolve in this game anyways, I figured this is going to be more fun.
Shiny
After this, I
Puzzle
worked on a
sucks.
Steel Outbreak, which surprisingly was a lot easier than you think to see, and finally a quick Piplup Outbreak finished all of what I needed. With 3 shots left, I decided that the mountain where I found Beldum was probably the best spot, as it spawned a ridiculous amount of Pokemon, and with a grass sandwich, I had the chance of finding a few things, most importantly, the final Deerling that I needed. I ended up finding Abomasnow and eventually his son, and with some
And eventually his son.
I quickly finished up yet another section.
And his son again.
No. That's the last one.
And his son again,
The
apparently.
goal is very simple. Catch a shiny for every color in the rainbow.
Oh god.
Obviously, there are only 7 big colors in the rainbow, but knowing my luck, I was going to get pretty unlucky. I decided to start in the Savannah biome, and this is how it went. Oh.
Hey, Pyroar.
There it is. Right at the end of my sandwich, too, right? I mean, I guess that's yellow.
No!
Wow, there it is. I almost flew right over it. I wasn't even
Oh, hello.
There it is.
Brown.
Oh. Okay, so
Oh.
this has to count as blue, right?
Snows is blue. I guess it's close enough.
I'm pretty sure that's shiny, and if it is, that's a terrible shiny. It is.
Oh, poor buddy.
Oh, little purple guy.
Oh, that's adorable. Little
Alright, got 2
Kochu.
colors left.
I just got a marked Kochu that a few weeks ago. Yeah, now that's really obvious.
Oh, that's definitely shiny.
Hey, Scraggy, my dude.
It's not green or blue, but it's still a little guy. Oh.
Oh, Tyrone. I got one of these guys as well before.
Sorry, indigo. Oh.
Snivy!
Alright, that is the whole rainbow. With 99 shinies collected and the rainbow complete, I decided to take on arguably the hardest shiny to get in the entire DLC. Now, I know I mentioned earlier that Tynamo is the hardest shiny to get, but I meant that visually. In my opinion, there is one more shiny that is significantly harder, and that's because it's hard to spawn. In the top right of the polar biome, there's a glacier you can enter that for some reason contains a small collection of Cyndaquil. Why are they there? No clue. But unfortunately, the spawning for this area is really bad. I threw down a fire sandwich and started riding in the area, and maybe at most I would see like 4 at a time, but usually there would only be 1, or even worse, nothing. Apparently the reasoning behind this is that there are only a couple spawn points for Cyndaquil to show up, but regardless, I gave it a shot to see if I could finish this off strong. Aww. No.
Cool fish. Yeah, it's a good shiny.
Wants to keep going. Although I was done, I didn't feel like I was done. I decided to keep hunting until I found a Cyndaquil, but this time, I had a new plan. Although I can't change the spawns in the cave, I can still manipulate them. In the back of the cave, there are a few ledges that you can stand on, and despite the game banning you from making sandwiches on any piece of land that's a few degrees off from flat, you can set up in the back, which means you can keep respawning them. By standing on the ledge and having your Pokemon auto-battle, you can basically just sit there and watch Gallade knock out everything, and with a little trial and error of resending out your Pokemon, eventually, it all works out.
Yes, 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 yes. Shiny, shiny, we got the shiny, woohoo!
100th shiny. With this encounter, I completed the challenge in just barely over 50 hours and caught nearly every. Wait, is this a wholesome ending to a Johnstone video? No silly gag? No, just us in the moment, enjoying one of the hardest and coolest shinies to get in the game. Wow. Oh.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Bye bye.